Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SPEMA Council podcast. On today's episode, we are welcomed by Mélanie Danna, who's the current the current director of global programming and court operations for Giants of Africa. Mélanie has worked for other organizations, including the Raptors 905 and Volleyball Canada. Mélanie has over 15 years of experience in the sport industry with a degree in resource humanities. We welcome Mélanie as our fifth guest of season 4 of the SPEMA Council podcast.
Thank
Mélanie,
you.
how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Again, thank you so much for coming on. So just to start off, we kind of always ask our guests the same type of first question. So can you just tell us about your career path within the sport industry?
Yes. So, okay, thanks for revealing almost my age when you say 15 years of experience. But I studied in France. I'm from France. You can hear by my accent. And I always wanted to be a journalist, a sport journalist. So uh, I wanted to be around sports, and I volunteered a lot. And I was volunteering at a track and field event, and I met a journalist, and I talked about my passion for sports, and he was like, "Oh, okay, well, that seemed pretty interesting. You seem interested, and you can like relate an event. So uh, let's like you can try and join us for that on that newspaper." So I worked for that newspaper, and I was covering my local basketball team, and and then when they won the championship and then became professional, they were just like looking for someone to handle the communication side, and I just offer my service, and they're like, okay, let's hire you. So I get from being the volunteer at a track and field event, working for this newspaper, and then working for the basketball team, and that was quite like a fun journey for me. And then I got hired by the National League volleyball in Paris. So I'm from Lille, that's the north of France. And I got hired by the National League of Volleyball. And I didn't know much about volleyball, but it was just like you're planning events, and you're in charge of all the professional teams. And I think I was like good at it, and I really enjoy it. And then I thought it was good for a new adventure, and I decided to move to Canada. And when I get there, I was extremely lucky to get a job with Volleyball Canada. And funny enough, it was the exact same position that I had in France, but just in English. So I had to get my English a little bit better. And then I moved to Ottawa, worked there, met my husband, who's also in sports, and he got a job, and we had to move back to the GTA. And then I talked with some people within the Raptors organization. Well, I've been talking to them for a few years, and then they got a job, a spot that opened up, and I applied, got the job, worked for the Raptors 905 for 3-4 years, and then Masai offered me to work for Giants of Africa, which is an amazing organization that I've been looking and following online, and then attending events. So this is ended up being with the Giants of Africa. It's just like a lot of um, opportunities and meeting people, the right people, and a bit of luck.
No, for sure, for sure. And then can you just maybe talk about what Giants of Africa does, just to let our listeners know what the whole purpose of Giants of Africa is?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. So, Gens of Africa is a non-for-profit organization that was founded in 2003 by Masai Ujiri, who's the president and vice chairman of the Toronto Raptors. And the goal of Gens of Africa is to empower youth and to use basketball as a tool to empower them and then to uplift them on and off the court.
Okay.
So we run basketball camps. We build basketball courts, and we also organize some community outreach.
No, that sounds like a great program, especially just how you even talk about how you want to like empower youth and just kind of do stuff like that. So I think that's a
Yeah,
great, it's a
and
great.
I forget to mention, but it's in the name. Sorry to cut you off. It's in the name of the organization. We do all of that in Africa.
Yeah. So again, it was in the name. So no, I mean it just sounds like a great program. So definitely, definitely a good program to be a part of. So then, as I talked about, you're the director of global programming. So just as like that's your role, what has been the most rewarding aspect to your job right now?
Yeah, so when I joined Gent of Africa last year, and when I joined, they just started this new initiative called Built Within, and it's a commitment from Masai and Gent of Africa to build 100 basketball courts on the continent, just because of the obvious lack of infrastructure in a lot of countries in Africa. And we were just like, uh, we realized that when you go to Africa and then you see the amount of talent, and you just like see numbers of players in the NBA that are coming from Africa or African descent, you you will think that if they actually had infrastructure or proper coaching, they will be everywhere in the NBA in Europe, and they also like have this basketball African League, which is huge for the continent and for all the talents. So we were just thinking like, okay, it will be good to help the kids have a place and a better place to just develop their skills, but we're not building those codes just for to find the next Yanis or the next Embiid. It's really to empower the youth and then help them build self confidence and be community leaders. So um, for it's been yeah, like I said, it's been a little bit more than a year now, and we built 20 basketball courts in 8 countries, which is a lot of work. And for I would say like for a month, now I'm in charge of like supervising all the construction and the unveiling. And when you're like talking with the recipient, that could be a community, that could be so like yeah, the city, it could be a school, it could be a basketball academy. You're talking like back and forth with them on the design of the court, what they need. Do they need bleacher? Do they want a change room? Will the court be a FIBA size? And you just like go back and forth, and you don't really see the impact of that court because it's just like one court. And especially for North American, you'll be like, yeah, there's courts, basketball courts everywhere. But when you actually go there and unveil the court and you see the youth faces and the smiles, and it just everything for them. And when we're building courts, for us a court is it's not just a court, it's really a hub for the community to get together, and then to uplift the community. And also we are thinking that by building these courts, it also help the entire community because it also create jobs opportunities on and off the court. Let's say if you have this amazing court that we're building, and then now they can build a team, a basketball team. That means there will be a coach. That means they can join the league. That means there will be games and like some job opportunities for people, and it's like a whole ecosystem that we are building. So I think the most rewarding thing is just like to see the impact that just one court can have
No, for sure.
on an entire community.
No, for sure. Because I know, like, even some classes we've talked about how like sport can bring so many people together. It just helps quality of life even too. So like you even touched on that. Like, I think I remember even seeing a video a couple years ago. I think it was Joel Embiid went back to Africa to help build some courts, and like just seeing the kids' faces light up. So I definitely understand what you mean when you talk about like how the community just lights up about it, and like how it's almost it improves the quality of life. It gets the kids active. It gets the whole community active, not just the kids. And it just kind of
Exactly. Yeah, and it just like if they can focus on obviously education. We
yeah.
we we emphasize a lot on education, but if they can play sport and just like express themselves, and then yeah, like once again like build confidence in themselves, like that's how we want.
No, exactly. Because I think even sometimes here I mean, every neighborhood seems to have a basketball court here. So I think
Mhm.
some of us might take it for granted, be like, oh, we're just gonna go to the basketball court. So it's great to hear that programs like Giants of Africa are trying to give kids around the world that opportunity as well, where they can just go, oh, let's go to the basketball court, and they have that available to them too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
yeah. So then also, like I previously mentioned, you worked for Raptors 905. So you had the role as a community relations and player development coordinator, and then within that role, you planned the G League showcase. So can you just
Mhm.
give us an insight on how an event like that occurred, like what the planning was like, and how the overall outcome of that event was?
Sure. So the Raptors 905 hosted the G League Showcase for 2 years in a row, 2016 and 2017. And when I joined the Raptors 905, they were already like kind of deep in the process of the 2017 event. And we had this amazing leader, John Wiggins, who at the time was the vice president of the Raptors 905, who really had that vision for that event to be the best showcase ever in the G League. So like working with him and my team at the time, planning. When you think of an event, there's like so many moving parts and so many things to think of. And then John was on top of us, just like to think of booking hotels, ground transportation, having a caterer, working on the practice schedule, working with like the broadcast, partnerships, um, communication, social media. There's like so many layers of an event, and I love working event just because you you work with a lot of stakeholders, and you just need to make sure that there's everybody's on the same page, and you just like work continuously until the event, and it's just like the final product is what everybody's so proud of, and we come as a team. Showcase was an amazing experience for me. We had great volunteers. We had some people from a lot of universities, especially like yours, and and yeah, it was really good because when I joined, like I say, they were already deep in the process, but I joined and I was in charge of the volunteers actually, and all the gear for everyone. So I had like a specific role, but I was able to see everything else that was like in needed for the entire event.
No, for sure. And even last year, in SPIMA, you have to take a course called event management. So you have to go through all the logistics, everything you need, anything that can happen that can go wrong. So you have to have a contingency
Yes.
plan for like definitely an event like that. I can imagine how much planning goes into it and just like
You need contingency plan all the time. I can actually tell you like a story because we were playing at Paramount Fine Food Center,
okay.
Hershey Center,
Yep.
in 2017, and there's hockey rinks. Actually, it's actually hockey rinks, and they built the basketball courts on top of it. And there was a leak in one of the room, and we had like to I can't remember, like we had to postpone, or we had like it was just like big mess um that we didn't plan.
Oh,
We even if we tried to have a lot of backup plans for a lot of things, we didn't think of that one.
no, first I would assume that would be a big fire to be put
Yeah, I
out.
think it was too hot. It was too hot because like hockey rinks, obviously it's
Yeah.
cold, so they put the heat on, but then the ice melt underneath the court, so it was a disaster.
Oh, and then you had to postpone, and then you got to coordinate everything. So I'm sure that
Coordinate everything else, like talking to the teams, and yeah, it's broadcast,
yeah.
and yeah, what's
So
fun.
yeah, no. So that sounds like an event. So how have you had like any other experiences with some big time like 905 events, Raptors events that you just want to touch on, like the event planning on how those
Hmm.
events happened?
Events, well, I'll say with the Raptors 905, there was an event every other day, just like hosting games. It's an event itself. So it takes quite a lot of organization. You need to be really like detailed and real organized, just to make sure that you have everything ready on time for each event. Um, Hmm, I'll say, yeah, Raptors 905 this. And then the year after 2017 and the last time we hosted the showcase, I think we did such an amazing job that no other team actually hosted the showcase since, and the G League just decided to manage the showcase, and now they run it in Vegas
In Vegas,
mid-season.
yeah.
It's a mid-season in-season event in Vegas. Um, so other than that, in terms of events, like I won't really talk for like the Raptors, but when I was working with Volleyball Canada, we hosted those uh, nation leagues now it's called, where you hosting different countries. So I travel, um, and that's one thing. Like you, when you host events in your, I'll say in your backyard, when it's like it was in Mississauga, it's like you already know it's your own arena. But with Volleyball Canada, we went to Edmonton, we went to Calgary, and you just need to get used to that new arena you don't that you actually don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a lot of planning and meetings, and it's similar to those events and the court unveiling that we planned with Giants of Africa. Like I'm not in Africa to know how it's going to happen, so it's a lot of communication with people on the ground. Yeah, a lot of organization and communication, I'll say, are like the keys for a successful event.
No, for sure. And you just talked about communication. Like I had the opportunity. I volunteered with the Canada Summer Games this past summer, so there was a lot of planning with that because I was in charge of media. I was the media lead at my venue, and so that was a lot of communication. Because I'm from Windsor, so I was down in Windsor
Mm-hmm.
doing online meetings, and I had to talk to people that knew how the park laid out. And I'm like, so what can we put here? What can we put there? So like, I'm able to relate on that sense when you talk about how you're not in Africa and you're it's
Mm-hmm.
communication's so key. I mean, obviously yours is a lot more responsible. Like you had a bigger responsibility than what I had, but I can definitely understand what you mean by when you talk about like, oh, communication this, communication that. Communication's a big part, and some people don't realize how big of a part communication is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why you need to keep things organized, just like having a plan, and then make sure you communicate to everyone, and then this is what you envision, and then make sure that people understand it. So it's not going like all around the place. And I would say like each role is actually really important. Everyone's playing a part.
No, for sure, for sure. So we're gonna kind of switch some avenues here. We like to talk about some like real life sports talk, just real life talk as well. So
Mhm.
NBA season started last week, so I believe most teams have played 2 or 3 games, so pretty early into the season.
Yes.
So let's get your early prediction on who's your pick to win MVP, and who do you think is gonna win the NBA championship this year as well?
Well, I will say that I can't say any other team than the Raptors. No, but I actually like the idea of the Raptors winning a second championship. And I like the fact that we are always not a contender, like not, well, people don't consider us
Yep.
as, see, I say Raptors and I say us. I'm so into it. Yeah, they don't consider the Raptors as a contender, always underdog. So, and when you look at the team for this year, it's actually a pretty solid one. So I think there's I would say Raptors, not being delusional,
Yep.
and then MVP. Hmm, MVP. If I need to be really like neutral, I will say Yanis,
Giannis.
because yeah, because he is a beast.
Oh,
He's a
he
beast.
he's always a safe pick, especially. I mean,
Mhm.
he he carried Milwaukee to the championship that when they won it. So,
Yeah,
I mean, Raptors always a solid pick. Even when they had Kawhi, no one was really talking about them as contender. It was kind of like, oh, interesting. And me and my roommates always talk about how the Raptors are one of the hardest teams to play because anyone can guard anyone.
yeah.
Anyone can score in terms of that. So Raptors very solid choice for the NBA championship and MVP pick. I mean,
Easy one.
I got him on my fantasy team, so I gotta hope he does well. He's had a good start. So Jason Tatum, he's had
See,
a good start.
was it your first pick?
He was my first round pick, yes. So
See?
he's had a hot start. So I mean, I gotta hope for fantasy. Hopefully, he can carry me um, to a championship in fantasy. But I mean, hopefully, again, the Raptors just have such a deep core, and again,
Mhm.
you can even see, like we talked about. But Giannis is a solid pick for MVP too, especially.
Yeah,
I like we both went Eastern Conference, no
I
Western.
know. I know. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, continue with your question.
Just no one went Western Conference. So, and then just another question. So, if you could meet any basketball player, professional basketball player that's either playing now, retired, so who would it be and why?
Okay, so um I'll have like two answers then. I'll say retired one would be Michael Jordan,
Okay.
just because yeah, like he inspires so
Yep.
many youth and paved the way for so many people. So I think it's just like a big figure in the basketball. Would love, yeah, would really love to have the chance to meet him. And then current player, and this is where I go west. I would say Steph Curry. Steph Curry, just because he sounds like he looks like a cool guy. Cool guy. I really
Oh,
like
for
his vibe.
sure.
He sounds pretty down to earth, and then he's an amazing player. He's an amazing player, and I like what he does off the court as well with his foundation, and then always working with his family and his wife. And so yeah, I think I like him as a person and as a player.
No, for sure. Two solid choices. I mean, MJ's always up there in terms of professional basketball players you want to meet. I mean, if I had to pick one retired, other than MJ, MJ's definitely up there. I feel like Shaq would be an interesting one. Just
Mhm.
man's done so much different stuff playing
That's
basketball.
true.
He's played with so many different people. He's an actor as well. All the amount of commercials, and I'm scared if I had to spend a day with Michael Jordan, the trash talk would make me like all the trash talk MJ might throw at me if we did like a type of event. Um, where Shaq's just a huge man, so look up to him.
Yeah, maybe like funny and he's a like jack of all trades. Like he does so many things at the same time. Like it's insane. Yeah.
No, for sure. And then current, I'm trying to think right now. I mean, Steph Curry's definitely up there as well. I
Hmm.
think I might have to go with your MVP pick and Giannis. Just
Oh, okay. Yeah.
see what his life is like, because I mean, he's a pretty funny guy too. I love his
Yeah.
dad jokes. So seeing his post game conferences with the dad jokes, I might have to write down his dad jokes as well. So, no, that's definitely probably my two picks as well in terms of who I would meet in a day.
And he has an incredible story as well. So there's like definitely a lot to learn from him.
No, exactly. So, and then last question. I'm gonna keep it Raptors here as well, because I
Hmm.
always jerseys are a big aspect. So, what's your favorite NBA or favorite Raptors jersey that they've ever worn?
Huh. Huh. I like this too. I like the classic purple one
Yep.
and the OVO one.
And the OB one, I think the purple
Mm.
one's just it's a classic, probably one of my favorite ones. Just it's when you think of that, you think of Raptors basketball.
Yeah, exactly. You see it, you know it's the Raptors, and you
Exactly.
think of like a Vince Carter era. Like yeah, it's obvious.
Yeah, watching highlights, those are the ones I always saw him in growing up. So
It's a big
um,
statement. Yeah.
it is. It's a huge statement, and I'm pretty sure they started bringing them back either last year or the year before. And I was pretty pumped about that because I know being from Windsor, I get a lot of Detroit stuff too, and the
I
Pistons
know.
are bringing back
Yeah.
their teal ones. So and I
Are,
know
are, are you a Raptors fan or a Detroit fan?
I'm both essentially. So
I
I
don't know if that's an answer. You have a Canadian team and an American team. Is that
exactly, exactly. Canadian and American. So I like both teams to do well. So Pistons a little bit rebuilding right now, so Raptors a little bit more on the rise. But no, like I
But
even saw the
so
Pistons,
if they're playing against each other, who do you cheer for?
the referees. We go with the referees. Just hope it ends in a tie.
Okay, and okay, you can say there's like a few ex-Raptors coaches on the Detroit coaching
Exactly,
staff.
exactly. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the Raptors would blow the Pistons out right now. Pistons still a pretty young team, so
yeah, but every time like there's like a curse. There's
oh,
a Coach Casey curse.
exactly. He always comes back, always comes back. But I mean, the Raptors did do pretty well when they switched coaches, so who knows?
Yeah,
So,
can't complain on that one.
no, exactly. So again, this has been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on. And as we do on the Spima Council podcast, we always like to give the floor to our guests. So I will give you the floor on any last words.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I will say like I talk a lot about like opportunities and luck in my career path. And there's like a saying when because I've been saying like, oh, I've been extremely lucky just like moving from France to Canada and then now hold that job. And then um people have been telling me that so this thing, which is luck, is when opportunity meets preparation, and it's actually a fact. Like when you are ready for something, and you just need to be patient because like an opportunity will come, and this is when the magic uh, will be created.
No, for sure, for sure. And again, thank you again. Thank you for talking about your experience. And I've definitely learned more about Giants of Africa now. So definitely we'll keep up to date with Giants of Africa because you guys are doing
Yeah,
great work from the sounds of it.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, you can check our latest coat and veil on Instagram, Giant of Africa.
Perfect. We'll do. We'll make sure we repost it as well.
Thank you so much. It was a
Thank,
pleasure. Thank
thank
you
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Thank you.